started watching Twilight once.
Yeah. Tell me everything. What do you think? Ready? Mama, can I talk to you later? Come on, we gotta talk boys. Are you being safe? Did you hear me?
Linda?
Do you do that a lot?
He's a vampire.
Just the past couple of months. I like watching you sleep. It's kind of fascinating to me. I just want to try one thing. Just stay very still. Don't move.
Sorry.
You're stronger than I thought.
Yeah, I wish I could say the same.
Vampires are vampires.
Coco.
I'm pretty. Alright. It's dark in my room. Well, that concludes this